Through the eyes of our most veteran teachers, let's take a moment to celebrate how the Jesuits ready our students and faculty to illuminate the world. This is Hearts on Fire. Thanks for taking a little time to reflect on your experience with Jesuits over the years. So I have a couple of questions to help start this conversation. So what year did you get to Jesuit?
1976, the year of the bicentennial.
Over the years, so 1976 to 2024, how many Jesuits do you think you've worked with?
I want to say it probably in the hundreds, to be honest with you, 50 to 100. It's a large number, because they also have the people, novitiates passing through just for a while, plus the people there forever. Mm-hmm. So it's a huge number of Jesuits, it really is. And in what different capacities have you interacted with and worked with Jesuits? I've taught with them. I've been in clubs with them, moderated clubs at various times along with them. I've done retreats with them. What else? Retreats, informal discussions at lunches, the entire thing. Jesuit is an immersive experience. Even if you're not a Jesuit, you're immersed in a very community of people. And that always was true then, it's true now to the present moment. The Jesuits are definitely the heart and soul of that community. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. None whatsoever. What Jesuits were you the closest to over your time here? I can't pick one out because they all have been so terribly helpful to me. Sure. In terms of sheer interestingness, Leininger stands out because they're very interesting characters in all kinds of ways. But it was the general acceptance, the openness to talk with me. I was talking to the Jesuits, I was talking to a fellow faculty person, a fellow human being. I was talking to a friend. And that's been true across my entire 50 years here at Strake. It's always been true. Well, let's talk about Father Leininger. Okay. He was here for many years. Yeah. His picture's still on the wall in the building next door at Strake Hall. And what was he like to work with? And tell some stories about him. Wow. He was a singular presence. The words gentle giant come to mind. He was tall, very tall, imposing physical specimen. He didn't say any more than he had to say. He was a man of very few words. If he said 4 words, he said a lot. Mm-hmm. But he had this smile, this kind of enigmatic smile that simply drew you in. I never knew exactly what he was thinking. It was somehow the world seemed to be an interesting place to him, an orderly place. He was a person who loved order. In his classrooms, you sit. I wasn't a student myself, but students tell me. You come to the classroom, you sit, you start your class, open your notebooks, etc. Mr. Johnson, go to the board. Do questions number 6 and 5, please. Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson, explain that. That's wrong. In other words, it was hands-on. You're doing the work right now. I'm your teacher, but at the same time, enormous respect from the children, from the kids. They really respected the guy like unbelievably so. Outside of class, he saw him walking the campus, saw him doing his morning prayers and everything else, and he simply was a very gentle, slow-moving person. And again, when you spoke to him, he was always very polite and would smile and talk back. You wouldn't make much small talk with him, but you could talk with him. Right. I don't know, it was simply his presence, his general presence. And you talk about the picture in the building. When he finally retired, his last day of teaching, the corridor was lined with young men clapping and applauding as he left. His only reaction was to smile gently as he walked very slowly up the corridor. And that was the end of the era in many ways. Working with him was working with a professional, a person of great ability. He knew his material very well, but also someone who had a very calm demeanor. I never saw him riled about anything. I really haven't. He was very calm and very collected. He was, of course, the moderator of the lunchtime croquet club. Yep. And that was a blast. Watch him on the field, talking with young men, and hitting balls with sticks and everything else. But he just loved it. It was something. One of the little things about him that was his own particular quirk, if you will, in many ways. Outside of that, on retreats and elsewhere, he was the quiet one in many ways. As I say, his presence was more who he was and that kind of gentle, calm demeanor that stood out to me in all those years. Who else comes to mind? Oh yes, I forgot Hippolite. We've had a lot of conversations as well. I should have mentioned him. I really should have. Well, if you have some stories about Father Hippolite, let's hear them. His sense of order and decorum is amazing. The world is an orderly place, and there are rules in how you behave, and all this dressing down stuff just ruins the environment of the campus. Orderly people, well dressed, paying attention, being serious about their studies. Yeah, I respect the heck out of him, but that was him all over the place, it really was. Him, of course, he's from Louisiana, so it's Louisiana stories. He's from the same kind of background in terms of cultural background as I am, so we talk about that. He still brings a smile to my face. I don't know, I guess the thing that stuck out most strongly was that quick smile, that real strong sense of decorum and order, which is part of who he is in all kinds of ways. That's been true through all the years, all that I've known him. And you can always count on him to be there, to have a word to say about what's going on in the school one way or the other. And always a word well worth hearing. It really was. That's also true.
What about seeing students interact with Jesuits?
You haven't heard about Brother Casey, you should have heard him by now. Casey was an institution unto himself. He was a one of a kind. He was a disciplinarian, of course, which means the kids interacting with him in where they were being disciplined. But the thing was, they loved the man. He had a capacity of disciplining the kids, but also of being a person who was there for them. If there was an issue, if there was a problem or tragedy, he was there. He was the first to comfort the kid, to confront all the rest. Of course, there was some videos done on the old morning news show about him patrolling the grounds by walking on the grass. Was a no-no for him. He didn't walk on the grass. They showed him giving PHs to trees for being on the grass. But all that being said, he was quick with the smile, quick with the supporting word. If a kid needed an arm, somebody to talk to somebody to hold on to, he was there for them. Without a blink, without missing a beat. His heart was full of joy, heart was full of compassion. He loved these kids. He wanted them to be good, strong Christian gentlemen. What he could do to help that? Teach them discipline, teach them order, teach them goodness. He taught that with his behavior, with his demeanor, with who he was,
Sure.
I'd forgotten. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Remember, people I'd forgotten, I should not forget, because everyone always, Casey was Casey. You depend on him to the line. If you needed something done, had an issue with a kid, Casey was the man you went to, and he would definitely be there for you. He really would.
Yeah.
And if what's going on with Smith, he'd know what's going on with Smith. If you didn't, he did. Mm-hmm. He'd tell you what's going on with Smith while he was acting kind of crazy these days. Mm-hmm. And that was very helpful as well. It really was very helpful.
There was I don't know how true it is, but in my experience, it was very true that, at least through maybe 2010, he knew every kid in the year they graduated.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I heard the same thing, and I believe it. That was the kind of dedication he had to his job. He did. And when you came to graduation, he knew you. Mm-hmm. He had stories about you very likely as well.
Sure.
For all those 4 years.
Yeah.
He was an amazing man. He really was.
Yeah.
Amazing man.
Over the years,
okay,
what have you seen in terms of the influence that the Jesuits have over not just the students, but faculty, staff, culture, and what do you see as the importance of that?
Wow. I say it goes back to the most basic things of all, that we are here to serve our God, that our purpose on earth is to help to earn our salvation, but also to provide service to the people of God. That's the message I take away over and over and over again. The school's policies toward admissions, its policies toward formation of young men, not only as scholars, but also as Christian gentlemen. It's deep, it's real, it's not faked, it's the real thing. The retreat experience, I've been with Jesuits on the retreats. I've taken Jesuit retreats myself. They are what they say they are. Missionaries to the world, serving the Pope, serving the church, but basically trying to help make these young folks have a chance at being the people they should be, intellectually, spiritually, as human beings. That's a good, strong Christian gentleman. And the world doesn't have enough of those people at all, so that much is definitely true. Interaction with faculty the same way. I'm respected as a faculty person. I'm not a second-class citizen here. I'm an equal, and I'm treated that way. I treat that way in particular in terms of facilities, in terms of respect. I feel very much equal to everyone else on the campus. And again, that goes back to the heart of who the Jesuits are. They aren't prima donnas running the world. They're fellow Christians trying to earn their salvation, helping other people earn their salvation as well. In my old age, as I've gone older, one of the gifts I've been given, for some reason, at some point, I don't know when it happened, I started looking at people and seeing a child of God. I mean, that's not just a metaphor. That's what I saw. That ethic, that sense of who I am and what I'm all about, didn't happen by accident. So my spiritual life is my own, to be sure. But the formation I got from being on a campus, member of this faculty, of being taught and educated and informed spiritually by the Jesuits, had a lot to do with that as well. So it's also a chance to form my own self, be formed by my experiences with them into a better human being, a more Christian human being. That's also been a gift I've been given by being a Jesuit faculty president all these 50 years. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. No doubt whatsoever. This is my extended family. I believe that with all my heart. It's been proven over and over and over again in my experience. That's what it's all about. It really is.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's wonderful.
I'm glad you asked the question. You helped me to put it all together in my head. I hadn't put it together in quite a long time.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to visit with us and talk about your experience. You're a staple in this community. You've been here for many, many years, and you've worked with so many Jesuits, and there's no better person to reflect on that experience than you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the chance to reflect on some pretty powerful and pretty important memories. Thank you much.
Thank you.